So if you've ever gone in and poked around in your Zoom settings under the settings panel, you'll see there is an option under audio to suppress background noise. I have that set at auto. Most people do. You can change that. But down below that, there's an option to show in meeting option to enable original sound. And so 3 sub options below each one of those. So let's talk about what each one of these check marks do. So as you hover over it, it'll actually give you a little description, maybe a little hard to read here on the screen, but this option automatically disables Zoom noise suppression. So basically, by having this selected and allowing your original sound to be sent, the auto will not be, you will not have any background noise suppression. So if you're shuffling papers around or something like that, then you will hear a noticeable difference there. Now, most folks would keep this turned on and leave their original sound off unless they're doing something where they want complete sound reproduction, maybe for music production or something like that. Down below that, you'll see there are some options for that. So optimize the Zoom audio for highest quality music. It can increase CPU utilization and consume greater network bandwidth. For best results, an Ethernet connection, not Wi-Fi, is strongly recommended. So what we're doing is we're basically sending a almost uncompressed music stream, which does a lot. So it does a lot in terms of bandwidth consumption as part of your network, which is why they say don't use Wi-Fi, because it's going to potentially cause some packet loss if they're sending enormous amounts of data over your network. There's also some options here for echo cancellation. If you turn that on, this is good to keep on, because if you've got open speakers on your setup, in other words, I've got my microphone, I've got my speakers, I'm not wearing a headset, somebody's talking on my Zoom call, we would then hear that audio feedback into the microphone and back to the recipient who is talking, and that can be very impactful to a meeting. You've probably all been on a call at some point with a participant who's getting some echo. The last thing at the bottom here is stereo audio. And this basically encodes the audio in stereo because you've got a left and a right channel in most circumstances. However, most microphones are mono mics, meaning that they only record one channel. So it would be either a stereo capable microphone, meaning you have a left and right channel, or an audio interface like music basically, where you've got stereo sound that you would want to stream both channels, and then the far end would hear it in stereo if they had a stereo setup with their speakers. Most laptops now have onboard speakers built in with stereo mic or stereo speakers on them, and then if you have speakers outside of that, then obviously they'd sound probably even better. So the point that I was going to try to make here and show you is, when we have original sound turned on, there's a couple of things that happen when we initiate a meeting. So you may have noticed this when you turn that check mark on, you go to new meeting, and I will appear here. We're going to start a meeting, and up at the top we do notice that the original sound is turned on this mic. Now I'm going to switch over, so I'm going to record this. So right now I'm actually recording my entire screen, but I'm going to recording in progress, the broadcast that is going to Zoom, so you can hear the audio difference. I'll play that audio back real time. So right now my original sound is on. I've got some things that I can shuffle here. I've got some mail I can move around on the table. That's original sound turned on. Let's turn original sound off. Move the same mail around and talk at the same time. And we'll see what the difference is. Now remember, my background noise suppression was set to auto. It wasn't exceptionally high. It wasn't exceptionally different than what you may have. And I will say, for the purposes of this audio test, this is the mic that I am using. Um, and that said, this particular microphone is oriented in such a way that my vocals are going pretty close into the top part of the mic. Now, if I turn the original sound back on, my vocals will probably not sound all that different. You may get less background noise being the biggest difference. So we will see if that makes a difference in the audio side of things. Now, what I would recommend when we entered this meeting, and I'll re-enter this meeting just to show what happens. It's going to convert my meeting, but I'm going to go to a new meeting while that's taking place. And once this meeting starts, up at the top, you'll notice it automatically defaults to original sound on, which this was something for me that I was having some trouble with because I didn't know how to turn that off during my, when I join a call. And so it was actually very simple. There's a drop down right next to it, and you select which microphone you want to always use original sound. What I didn't know is that you could not select one of these. And so for me, I always thought that I always had to have one selected. Well, that's not the case. Just simply unselect it there, and now it won't ever use that particular microphone's original sound when you join a meeting. Now, you could still enable it if you wanted to. We don't have to. So I'm going to exit this meeting again. And once I rejoin the meeting, you'll notice it's turned off as I enter that meeting. Boom. Simple as that. Real simple setting. I didn't realize it until very recently, so thought I would show that quick pro tip. Maybe you already knew that. If so, good for you, because it was every time I entered a meeting, I would have to click this button to turn my original sound off because I didn't want to get a lot of the background noise. My computer fan is throttled up pretty high right now, and you may be able to hear that. And so I didn't want to use my original sound. The background noise suppression does an excellent job of filtering that out, and I can toggle that on just by pressing that button, off and on just by hitting that. So if you had something where you needed to have your full audio spectrum, you would be able to do that just by clicking that original sound button. Hope to see you soon.